Welcome back, class. This is our last and final lesson of Unit 4. We're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about the cell skeleton, or also known as the cytoskeleton. So in this lesson, our goal is to just sort of get a good understanding of the parts of the cytoskeleton and what that cytoskeleton does for a cell. So if we do that today, then we've met our goal. What is the cytoskeleton is what I want to start off with. A little explanation of what it is. And it is a network of tubes and fibers that are interconnected. And they extend from the nucleus to the plasma membrane. So it's this network of tubes and network of fibers and cords and strands that connect the nucleus to the plasma membrane. They extend all the way throughout the cell. And in this picture up here, you can kind of see it. All this stuff that's dyed yellow here, that's all part of the cytoskeleton there. These green fibers in here are all part of the cytoskeleton. So this is a huge makeup of that cell. Huge makeup is this cytoskeleton. And there are 3 parts, and each part of the cytoskeleton has a different job. So what you need to do as a class is understand the 3 parts of the cytoskeleton and what their individual functions are. Okay, the 3 parts of the cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton is made up of actin filaments, intermediate filaments, and microtubules. Actin filaments, intermediate filaments, and microtubules. We'll start with the actin filaments. The actin filaments are the smallest fibers in there, the smallest, thinnest fibers. And they have an important job. Their job is to change the shape of the plasma membrane. So cells have some control over what shape they are. They can contract their actin filaments to pull in on that cell membrane to sort of change their shape. This becomes very important for cells that have an irregular shape, such as, I'll draw one here, such as like an amoeba maybe has kind of an odd shape. And it needs to extend its plasma membrane out in certain parts. And it's those actin filaments that are going to contract and relax in order to pull out parts of the cell membrane. So those are the actin filaments. The next one are the intermediate filaments. And the intermediate filaments, what they do is they support the plasma membrane. So they help keep the plasma membrane shape. So the actin filaments change it, the intermediate filaments help keep the plasma membrane shape, and they also help anchor organelles in place. So they're going to keep the mitochondria where they need to be. They're also going to keep the nucleus in its spot and in the correct shape. So intermediate filaments have a huge role in supporting the structure of the cell, giving that cell the structure. The last one, and this is kind of the odd one, microtubules. Microtubules are these small hollow cylinders. You can see in the picture right below that it's a tube of these fibers, and they create this hollow cylinder, and they act as roads. Microtubules are intercellular roads, and on these intercellular roads, organelles walk. They walk on protein feet. So if I draw that out here, here's one of our microtubules. An organelle is going to be able to walk on it on proteins, and these proteins are called the protein feet. And those protein feet allow these organelles to move across these microtubules. And this allows organelles to move around, especially vesicles and these transport modules. They can travel around in the cell. We can get the vesicle to the mitochondria if it has food. We can get the vesicle to the lysosome, or we can get the lysosome to the vesicle. It allows the cell to control where things are going and allow it to move and to change its shape and to travel around throughout the cell. So the cytoskeleton has this important role. It does 3 really important things. 1, it allows the cell to change its shape. 2, it allows the cell to maintain its shape and have some structure and not fall over and collapse under pressure. And 3, it allows things to move around and to be able to move around within that cell. It's also going to have an important part in reproduction and we'll talk about that coming up when we talk about cell reproduction. So keep that in mind. That's the cytoskeleton. This has been lesson 4E, and that ends our lessons for 4E. If you have any questions about all of 4, feel free to ask me, and we'll go over whatever you need. So that's the cytoskeleton. Thanks, team.